So it just started spitting snow a little bit, but today I'm going to be putting that ladder stand up in this tree right here. And I'm trying to choose a new spot for this stand because next year I'm going to be surrounded by soybeans. And I feel like the deer will be more in the woods and less out in the middle of the field since they don't have that corn for protection. And I'm choosing this specific spot because there's been a lot of deer activity. There is a trail that I actually maintain that intersects here, and it goes 3 different directions, and the deer travel that. They themselves have a trail that goes up through all this thick stuff and out into a brushy area where they bed. And it just happens to be that the really nice 8-point that I shot this year was following this trail just before I shot it. There is a whole bunch of There are a whole bunch of hinge cuts and bedding opportunity in that far back part of the woods. And then as I turn over this way, there's an orange stake, and that's kind of the corner of the property line in the woods. And this entire section of woods over here is not hunted or really disturbed at all by anybody. So the deer funnel through there right up to this thick spot here. Also, over this way, got to take a little walk here. I've got a real scrape. It is not a mock scrape. That even though it's January, the deer are still hitting like crazy. And you can kind of see the roughed up ground here. They have a big travel trail right here that goes off into that thicket. And even from standing here, I can see rubs on trees. And that is full of rubs and scrapes out there. There's just not a good opportunity to get out in that and actually hunt it. But with all these different trails and opportunity for the deer to move through this spot, I'm choosing to put my stand out here. So before I get started, I do want to clean up a little bit of the dead trees. This log came down this year. It's not that old, and I want the firewood out of it. And then just a couple of weeks ago, that tree right there that's leaning came down, and I'm going to cut that up because it's some good elm to burn, along with this one right here that sticks out just a little ways into my trail. So once I'm done cleaning those up, I'm going to put this stand up in the air. So as I'm lifting this ladder stand up, I want you to keep in mind, I weigh like 135 pounds and I'm a pretty small dude, so this isn't as easy as it looks for me. Doing this is pretty strenuous, and I've got to stretch pretty good because I'm not super tall either, but eventually I always manage to get them stood up, and I definitely could bring my tractor back here and use the bucket to lift it most of the way up, but that just seems like cheating, and I really don't want to damage the ladder stand that I'm about to put my life in the hands of as I sit 18 feet up in a tree. So I always do it the hard way, and I definitely appreciate it every time it goes smoothly, just like this has. Sometimes I really struggle when they get hung up on branches or when it starts bobbing too much and that weight throws over my back. But this went pretty smooth, so I'm going to get some ratchet straps and I'm going to anchor this baby to the tree. So this is the view from up here now that I have the ladder stand up. Right there's the scrape that the deer have created that was made mid-November, and they're still hitting it even though it's January. There's a trail that goes off into that thick brush. Back that way, you can't really tell, but there's a pond over there, a little water hole. And then you can kind of see the drag of the trail. And my trail goes that way. Back in here is all that bedding area with hinge cuts and more deer trails. A couple more natural scrapes. Their trail kind of follows those trees that I cut up there off into all this brush where they bed. And then where the tractor's at is the corner of the property line, and the deer also travel up into there, following my trail. So the property kind of cuts straight through there and then runs on an angle that way through the woods. So, and you can't see it at all. Maybe if I go like this. I have an elevated hunting blind back over that way. It's really blocked out though. It's like right there. That's for gun, not for bow. So yeah, I think this will be a great spot. Last year, while bow hunting, I have a stand quite a ways in over this way, and I could see the deer coming from here and cutting through over this way, and they'd meet up right around here and eat on the acorns and the grasses, and they're just always too far out of range to do anything about it. I couldn't have popped a doe even if I wanted to. And then during gun season, that really nice 8-point that I got just kind of followed right through here, went up that way, and lined up just right with a blind that I keep over there. So I figured, why not put a tree stand here and see if I can get them earlier in the season next year. So this should be a nice little spot. I just got to collect all this firewood that I have cut here which you're not crazy. Earlier you saw a John Deere Gator parked here. Now you see my Kubota because I can haul more wood in that bucket than what I can in the Gator. So I swapped them out.